Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into some fascinating stuff on American politics.
Oh, yeah.
This whole idea of the MAGA movement
Right,
and a
right.
divided America.
Yeah.
We're looking at two totally different viewpoints on this one, saying MAGA is fading out,
Okay.
becoming like a whisper of a shrinking minority.
Interesting.
And then the other viewpoint is this
Uh-huh.
personal story about navigating fear
Mm.
and finding empowerment and all this craziness.
Wow.
It's,
It really is fascinating to see those two sides.
yeah,
They almost paint like two completely different pictures of what's happening in America,
right.
but maybe looking at them together, we can get a better sense of what's really going on.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
So let's start with
Yeah.
this article from TATANKA.
Okay.
They say that the MAGA movement,
Yeah.
which, revolves around that slogan, Make America Great Again,
Right.
and wants to go back to more traditional social and economic policies,
Okay.
they say it's on the decline.
The article argues that this group wants to go back to a past that wasn't so great for a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
Marked by exclusion and inequality and all that.
And what's so striking is the contrast they make in the article.
Yeah.
This idea that a minority is holding on to this vision of the past, but the majority of Americans are moving forward, embracing progress,
Right.
diversity and inclusion.
Exactly. They even quote
Mm-hmm.
Vice President Kamala Harris,
Okay.
who sums it all up with that message, forward, not backward.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But, if that's really the case,
Yeah.
if MAGA is truly fading,
Right.
why do we still feel like America's so divided?
That's a great question.
It really makes you think that there's more to it than just one side shrinking and the other growing.
Right.
I mean, even if the numbers are changing, you can't ignore the anxiety and resentment that's driving this polarization.
Yeah.
We have to think about the impact of demographics changing.
Culture shifting and, the economic anxieties that people have.
Right.
All of that can create divisions, even if the country as a whole is becoming more progressive.
It's like even if the MAGA movement is getting smaller, the issues that fueled it are still a big part of the conversation.
Exactly.
Wow.
And to really understand this complexity, we need to look beyond the big political trends
Okay.
and see how individuals are being affected by all of this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Naya's story,
Okay.
which is also in the TATANKA materials.
Uh-huh.
This one really got to me.
Yeah.
Naya is a queer Black woman who talks about feeling increasingly marginalized and just scared
Oh, wow.
during the rise of the MAGA movement.
It's a powerful example of how these big political ideas actually affect people's lives.
Right.
The article might focus on MAGA shrinking,
Mm-hmm.
but Naya's story reminds us that words and policies can really hurt people,
Yeah.
especially those from marginalized communities.
It's a stark reminder that even if the movement is declining, the effects are still very real for many.
Absolutely. And it makes us look at these issues from a human perspective.
Yeah.
Political debates can feel so detached from reality, but Nia's experience shows the real consequences of these divisions.
It really does.
Yeah,
But then Naya's journey takes an interesting turn.
really.
She finds this sense of empowerment and belonging through TATANKA.
Oh, wow.
That organization that promotes unity and inclusion?
Right, right.
It becomes like her anchor in a world that feels increasingly hostile.
That's where we start to see the potential for positive change, even with all this division.
Yeah.
TATANKA becomes more than just an organization.
Oh.
It's like a force pushing back against the fear and exclusion.
It's almost like a counter movement, offering a whole different vision of America.
Yes, exactly. And it shows how important communities and organizations can be
Yeah.
in supporting those who feel marginalized and giving them a platform to speak out.
It's really inspiring to see how Naya found strength in community despite all that adversity.
It is.
Makes you wonder, if MAGA really is fading,
Yeah.
what's next for American politics?
Mhm.
Will we keep moving towards inclusivity and progress?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And to really explore that, we need to dig deeper into what's shaping the political landscape right now.
Yeah,
It's not just about what's happening, but why it's happening.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like we're seeing this tug of war
Yeah.
between these different ideas of what America is.
Mm.
On one side, you have this push for progress and inclusivity, like
Right.
what TATANKA is doing and what Kamala Harris is talking about.
Yeah.
But then there's this other side
Mm.
with these deep anxieties
Yeah.
and a longing for a past that wasn't so great for everyone.
Right.
How do we even begin to understand this?
I think it helps to look back at history.
Okay.
America has always struggled with these questions of identity,
Mm-hmm.
belonging, and progress.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, the MAGA movement is like a backlash
Okay.
against the changes we've seen in recent decades.
Socially and culturally.
Exactly. It's a segment
Yeah.
of society that feels left behind,
Yeah.
like their values and way of life are threatened.
So it's not just about politics then.
No.
It's about these deeper anxieties
Right.
about culture and demographics changing.
Exactly. The MAGA movement often taps into those fears,
Uh-huh.
promising to bring back a simpler time
Okay.
when things were more traditional.
Right.
But as the TATANKA article points out, that simpler time wasn't fair for everyone.
Definitely not.
It was a time of discrimination and exclusion
Yeah.
for women, people of color,
Mm.
the LGBTQ community,
Right.
all sorts of marginalized groups.
And Naya's story really brings that point home.
It does.
She shows us that these aren't just political debates.
Yeah.
They have real consequences of people.
Exactly. Naya's experience shows how this rhetoric of nostalgia and resentment
Mm-hmm.
can make people feel scared and marginalized.
Right.
Especially those who don't fit into this narrow vision of America.
It's like even if MAGA is shrinking, its impact is still felt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially by those who are most vulnerable.
It's almost like we're seeing two parallel stories.
Yeah.
One about progress and inclusion,
Right.
and the other about fear and holding on to the past.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it shows how complicated things are right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in this transition
Okay.
where the old ways are being challenged,
Mm-hmm.
but the new ways haven't fully formed yet.
Right.
It's like a battle for the soul of America.
Wow.
And it's not just happening in politics. It's in our
Mhm.
communities, workplaces, families all over the country.
So how do we navigate all of this?
Yeah.
If MAGA is fading, does that mean we're on the right track
Mm-hmm.
towards a more inclusive and equitable future? Or are there bigger problems we need to address?
That's where things get interesting.
Okay.
While it's good that MAGA might be declining,
Uh-huh.
we can't assume that progress is guaranteed.
So we can't just sit back and wait for things to change.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
to do something.
We need to understand why this movement happened in the first place
Right.
and fix the issues that are causing division and inequality.
So it's not just about one side disappearing.
No.
It's about actively creating a more just and equitable society.
Exactly. And that means taking a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
We have to deal with the economic anxieties
Yeah.
that are pushing some people towards these exclusionary ideas.
Uh-huh.
We need better education and understanding
Mm-hmm.
to fight prejudice and discrimination.
Okay.
And we need to create spaces
Yeah.
where people from different backgrounds can come together
Right.
and build connections.
Organizations like TATANKA seem to be doing that.
They're a great example of how to build community
Mm-hmm.
and foster inclusivity.
Yeah.
They help those who feel marginalized,
Right.
and they give a voice to those who are often silenced. They're not about shutting down opposing views. They're about creating a space for dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
understanding, and finding common ground.
That's a powerful model.
It is.
It shows that even with all the political polarization,
Yeah,
we can still find shared values.
absolutely. At
Yeah.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
most Americans want the same things,
Uh-huh.
no matter their political beliefs.
Okay.
They want a country where everyone has a chance to succeed,
Mm-hmm.
where their rights are respected,
Right.
and where they feel like they belong.
Yeah.
The challenge is figuring out how to overcome the things that divide us
Okay.
and build a shared vision for the future.
So how do we start to bridge those divides?
Right.
What can we do as individuals
Yeah.
to create a more inclusive and equitable society?
I think it starts with empathy and understanding.
Okay.
We need to really listen to people who have different experiences than our own,
Mm-hmm.
try to see things from their perspective
Right.
and recognize their humanity.
Yeah, that's so important. It's easy to get lost in all the anger and rhetoric, but at the end of the day, we're all human.
I agree, and that's where Kamala Harris's message comes in.
Yeah.
Forward, not backward.
Right.
It's about leaving the divisions of the past behind
Uh-huh.
and creating a future where everyone can thrive.
It's interesting to think about her message
Yeah.
alongside Nia's story.
Right.
Here's someone who felt so marginalized and afraid,
Mm.
but then found strength and community through TATANKA.
Yeah.
It's like a small-scale version of this larger movement towards a more inclusive America.
I like that. It shows that progress isn't just happening from the top down.
Right.
It needs systemic change,
Yeah.
but also individual action.
Mm-hmm.
We need leaders who are dedicated to creating a fairer society,
Okay.
But we also need people who are willing to challenge the way things are.
So it's not enough to just hope for a better future.
Right.
We actually have to do something.
Exactly. That's where the real power is.
Okay.
Each of us can make a difference. To create a world where everyone feels valued and respected, it could start small, like talking to a family member who has prejudiced views.
Yeah.
Or volunteering with an organization that helps marginalized communities.
Right.
Even those small acts can make a big difference.
Does we all have a responsibility then?
I think so.
To shape the future of our country.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's really empowering to think about. It means that even with all the challenges, we're not helpless.
Right.
We have the power to make change. We can use our voices and actions to create a more just and compassionate world.
That's really inspiring. We've covered so much today.
We have.
From the decline of MAGA to the importance of individual action.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to leave our listener with?
If I could say one last thing.
Okay.
It would be this. Don't underestimate the power you have. We're living in a time of uncertainty.
Yeah.
But also a time of incredible opportunity.
Right.
By having these tough conversations, challenging our own biases, and working together to build a fairer society, we can create a future that truly embodies inclusivity and progress.
That's a powerful message. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into American politics.
It was my pleasure.
We hope this has given you some things to think about.
Yeah.
And inspired you to keep exploring these important issues.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a better tomorrow.